Okay, welcome to the program and our guest, very special guest. They're all special guests, but this one particularly special, Whitfield Crane from Ugly Kid Joe. When was your last visit to Australia?
My last physical visit to Australia was most likely February '97.
Wow, that's a long time ago. And
as far as touring there with Ugly Kid Joe, that would be actually 1993. So it's over 20 years.
Wow, I think I remember that show, Hordern Pavilion. You played Hordern Pavilion? In Sydney? Yeah, big barn.
Yep.
Yeah. And now tell me, how did this link with Skid Row and by default Dead City Ruins? How did that occur? Because I did catch one of the games, the shows in England last year. How did that start?
We started some booking agent. Dan DeVita, and he has a lot of different bands on his roster, and he comes up with ideas, and some of them we agree to, some we don't agree with. And when there's an opportunity to go with Skid Row, we're like, yeah, let's do that. So we had an opportunity to pick and choose which band should open up. And out of all the bands, we're like, yes, Australia, Australia. Because, Dead City Ruins is from, Melbourne or whatever, and there you go.
And it seems from what I've read that you formed quite a bond with Dead City Ruins during the course of the tour.
Well, yeah, they're like a young version of us. They're up to no good, let's just say that.
You drank a lot? Is that what you said?
No. I didn't drink a lot, but I'm saying they're hilarious. They're like a younger version of us when we were 20 years ago.
Right, okay. And what can you say about how much your life has changed since your previous visit to Australia as a touring musician? Maybe we don't have enough time, but how would you sort of sum it up?
Well, when we were kids, we went around the world and we rode this crazy wave and played, clubs to soccer stadiums and, had this crazy experience, young and excited and scared and all the things that come with it. And then, we were in a band for 15 years, right? I've done different bands. I've done Medication or Another Animal or whatever, even sang for Life Agony a little bit. But, 20 years later, I got to tell you, as far as being in Ugly Kid Joe, I didn't think it would ever manifest, not even a chance. So the fact that, we got back together, made music, and have been touring for the last 2 years, once again, clubs to soccer stadiums, I guess I'm grateful.
Yeah. And a lot of people who maybe didn't take a break during that time, they come across a little bit bitter about the industry, don't they? The people who've been in the same band all the way through, or they're unhappy about pirating. And
what I noticed happening, I can't speak for me. So I don't have overhead in my existence. So I want to sing songs. I want to be creative. I want to be inspired. I want to inspire. I want to get read. So a lot of times, it's just with the human, condition is you might get a family or a mortgage or a car payment or whatever it all is, and then you're just using music as a hold on. Sorry, that's the police. You're just using music somewhat to pay your bills, and then you the sight of what a great thing it is to be involved in the creative process. To sell art in the first place is borderline comical, but for me, I love I've gone through the whole thing. I've gone through where many have gone through, and my goal has always been and still is to try to have an original reaction to it all,
Yeah.
To kind of study the histrionics of what has killed people or what has embittered people or whatever it is. And, I get it. I get all that. I'm like, So, I'm just trying to, make it through, be stoked, go play shows, and, be creative, really.
But it is better to step away from it for a while, isn't it? You get a better appreciation of what it's worth.
For me, of course. It wasn't just for me. I was like, we really, by 1995 with the Menace lineup, that's the sobriety lineup, and we were badass. And then Seattle came and decimated everybody, including us. And then there was nothing. And I was like, shit, I just got my chops and I'm just ready to do it. Just here it is now. And then the universe was like negative.
Yeah.
So of course, when it reappears, and of course in the old with the old guard and all of us making music together and celebrating each other and kind of being like, oh my God, I forgot about you guys, because all of us, we never hated each other, Deadly Kid Joe gang, but equally we drifted apart. So now we've been creative and stoked and a little bit older and a little wiser and touring around the world. So
Okay, I warned you. I warned you when this started. I was going to ask you to pick some songs. First song coming up. We're just past the 5-minute mark. You got one for us?
I'm going to put off of American Responder with the song "Neighbor."
Okay. Do you want to say anything about it that hasn't been said?
I'll tell you this: Klaus Eichstadt, the left-handed guitar player of Luobikis, wrote that song. Right? He also wrote "Everything About You." Everything About You is about my friend Farrell Smith and his friend, our childhood friend. It's a cynical guy. You know, that's the inspiration of the muse for Everything About You. About 3 years into singing "Neighbor," you know, on American Responder 1992, 1993 tour, I looked at Klaus and said, "Hey man, what's that all about? Like, what is "Neighbor" exactly about? Like, where did you get that?" And he laughed in my face and said, "That's about you."
Okay, we're back with Whitfield Crane from Ugly Kid Joe. Now, I was reading that, you know, when the band broke up, of all the places you could have gone, you went to Istanbul and then on to Goa. I'm really curious as to why.
I went to India, and Istanbul is Turkey,
Yeah.
and then Goa is India. So I went to India.
Oh, you went to India first. No, you didn't go to Istanbul. That's wrong, is it? I read that in a story. That's wrong.
Yeah, that's incorrect.
All right, okay. I know where Istanbul is and I know where Goa is. So why Goa? Why'd you go to Goa?
Well, we were on a snowboard tour through the Alps, and there's this dude named Ian who was our bus driver, and I was sitting, you know, on a kind of splitter van snowboard tour, and I was hanging out with my friend, and we were trying to figure out where to go. And this was right before Ugly Kid Joe was going to break up. I had no idea it was going to break up, but as we're trying to figure out where to go for Christmas, New Year's, or whatever, my bus driver said, he said, "Hey man, let's go to India." And I'm all, "Why would I ever go there, dude? Why?" And he's all, you could spend rupees. And I was like, "What's rupees? What is a rupee?" And he's all, "It's the currency." And I was like, we're going to spend rupees. And that's why, just because it sounded cool. And we went there and had an incredible adventure, Enfield motorcycles, and, you know, we rented a Portuguese mansion and really had a fantastic, decadent, hedonistic adventure. It was killer. But we went to spend rupees, bottom line.
Did you, how long did you stay?
I think we got there right before New Year's, 96, and left India probably for Australia, funny enough, February 97.
So you were here as not in a non-work capacity. Well, what did you do while you were here?
We were pushing Motel California, so I came and I think Sony or whatever was pushing Motel California, and I went and landed, and I said, "I could be your friend," and we went through around and said, "Hey, Motel California," and then the band broke up.
Right. Okay. I was going to ask you this: is it always a good idea to reform? Like if you're in a band, say in the same period that you were, and now you're meeting up your ex-bandmates and you're thinking about getting back together, is it pretty much always a good idea, or are there circumstances under which you just shouldn't do it?
Well, success is the best deodorant, right? So when we got together, it could have sucked. Straight up, the music could have sucked. No one could have cared. I mean, and we were surprised that anybody cared, really. So, you know, when we made music and it sounded as badass as it does, and then when we got these badass shows and we've been touring and people have been going to these shows and there's a success there. And under that is, of course, a storyline of it was a good idea to get back together. You know, and you only know that after you try. So I think you kind of got to do it, and then you'll know the answer, really. What is
people will wonder, what is a success, you know, for rock music in 2014? To what, it isn't, I'd imagine, the same way you would measure success in 1989. What is it just artistic fulfillment? Is it enough money to keep you on the road? What is success today?
Well, you're going to get a different answer from anybody who asks that question. But if you're asking me, success is getting to do it, you know, and, you know, making a buck, fair enough. And playing kick-ass shows. And, you know, for me personally, you know, I love performing. I'm born to do it, you know, and then and I feel the best when I'm doing that. When you know, show day, you know, you could give me 200 seats in a club, or you could give me 100,000 people in a soccer stadium, and I'm going to shine, and I'm going to love it. So for me, success is getting to do it, and then, you know, making some good choices. Like if you live through the gamut of whatever, in this case, a rock and roll tenure, and you're allowed to, as far as what is success is apply some wisdoms and not repeat some actions that you might have done when you were a kid, and do better business, and you know, and be stoked on what you get to do. So,
yeah.
Everyone's going to give you a different answer.
Okay, and the other thing I was going to ask you was, and I wasn't aware of this till I did a little bit of research, but the name of the band was a reaction to Pretty Boy Floyd. Were they aware of that? The band Pretty Boy Floyd, were they aware of that from the beginning, that your name was a sort of a reaction against theirs, a parody of theirs. And have you played with them? Have you ever played with them?
We never played the show, but we did get the name. I'm sure they know about it. No, who knows? I have no idea. I don't know them.
All right, you don't know them. Okay. Time for another song, Whit.
Well, I guess we should play something off of the new EP, Motel California. This song is called Devil's Paradise.
Before, and I was going to ask you a question about that, so I'll ask you now. The video, I noticed you've sort of pixelated out a sign in the video. Where can you tell the listeners where it was shot?
Well, part of it was shot in Homewood, California, with the actual footage where you can see the band members, but the rest of it's in San Jose, Costa Rica, and all the, just so you know, all the prostitutes in the video are males, but they look like they're females. So
okay.
Keep a keen eye out for that.
Okay, final part of the interview with Whitfield Crane. I want to thank him for joining us. Now, there is, they've got an EP out, which has been out for, about a year now. Now, I believe there's some recording plans in the offing. Can you keep us up to date with what's happening there?
Well, everyone's writing. We have a whole bunch of songsmiths in the band, from Klaus to Dave Foreman, and hello. And so we'll go tour Australia, then we'll come back to the United States at various times, and we'll start working. And we'll get in the studio with Dave Foreman and Sonny Mayo, both premier producers. And one of the cool things we have with Ugly Kid Joe is we can do it in-house, all in-house. So we'll basically get together and work out some new songs, and we'll figure out, what's the smartest, amount of songs, or should we just release a single or whatever. But for sure, we're going to get creative and, launch some stuff in 2015. No, I went to Motorhead band practice yesterday, by the way.
Oh, wow.
Yesterday. It was me and Motorhead at SAR in LA. Like, oh, come on down, Whit. And I was like, yes. And I went down there, and there they were. Me and Motorhead and Victor and Steve-O and the whole Motorhead family who I love. But
how is Lemmy? Because I saw he went to the LA Kiss Arena football first game the other day. He wasn't looking too bad. How is he?
He's good, man. He's in there. He's present, and they're working together as a Motorhead team, and they got a big show on Friday. I'll go to it, Nokia Theater, and then they're playing Coachella this next weekend. And he's a badass motherfucker. So I think all is well with Lemmy.
And in Europe, you closed 2 of the shows, I believe, and Skid Row closed the rest. Right, okay. And how is that decided? I mean, do you try not to be too pragmatic and business about it? I suppose you did have a number 1 single here, didn't you?
Yeah. I go for what's fair. Let's go for 2 and 2. I mean, that's how I like to do it. And, they'll probably, one of us will do Melbourne, one of us will do Sydney, one of us will do Brisbane, and one of us will do Fremantle. And there you go. Right,
okay. And just as far as Skid Row are concerned, I mean, how did you find touring with them? It's really interesting. I saw in an interview you said, you weren't grunge and you weren't hair metal. You're somewhere in between. And I was just recently on the Monsters of Rock cruise, and it's funny, Loudness and the London Choir Boys have absolutely nothing in common musically, but they're just part of the same scene because they're around at the same time.
Right.
Do you feel the same thing? Do you feel embraced by that market, those people of our age group?
I think jobs fit in everywhere and nowhere, right? So we could go out with Def Leppard or Van Halen or Bon Jovi or Motorhead or Ozzy Osbourne or whatever.
Yeah.
We were a weird gray area, really. So, hey, we fit in with Skid Row, we fit in with Van Halen, so, we fit in most anywhere. And don't fit in at all. So, we've always wondered that ourselves. You tell me when you know.
Okay. And finally now, I have to ask one of those did you almost do this type questions. Doing a bit of research, there's one thing that said you were shortlisted to be in Anthrax. Did that ever happen?
Untrue, though my friendship with Scott Ian is a deep and beautiful friendship, but no Anthrax possibilities for me, never.
So are there any forks in the road you look back on that, you could have been somewhere very different than you are now? Is there any that cross your mind?
I mean, I could be, and there's always those chances, but, I'm in my flip-flops in Venice Beach, California, about to come to Australia. This is my destiny.
On that note, one more song, Whit, and I just want to thank you for joining us again.
Okay, cool. I guess we're going to go Ugly Kid Joe, the song The Goddamn Devil, off America's Least Wanted, with a backup vocal from a very great singer by the name of Mr. Rob Halford, the singer of a band called Judas Priest. So listen to this. America's Least Wanted, Goddamn Devil, Ugly Kid Joe, Rob Halford is gone.